What are we talking about?
Welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast. This week we have all the information from Gamescom regarding Shadowkeep and all the information on the upcoming events in Destiny 2 for the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned, sit back, relax, and enjoy. I had this whole thing planned out in my head that because it's been like about 30 weeks that we've done this podcast, so we've had new people come in, I was thinking, okay, we might have to do reintroductions of everybody. I was going to introduce you guys, but then he's gone and ruined it. There's no point in introducing us again.
Yeah, he did ruin it.
And I can't believe he's just gone and left us. I can't believe he actually went on holiday a day early. So there's that.
You sounded super whiny. All right. Let me see if I can do this. I don't know. Hold on. Give me a second. Welcome to the podcast, Guardians. This week we're joined by our most English of hosts, Nitedemon, the voice of reason, Peroty, and the voice of ranting, Respawn. But wait, Peroty's not here today, is he? I guess it's gonna be fun.
It's good. So should we kick things off with this week at Bungie for the 22nd of August? I can't believe we're in August already and near the end. I
thought it was actually coming out in September. Turns out it's August. Oh, because they pushed it back. Duh. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's getting close. And then not only are we in August already, we're at the end of August. So next week is September, right? Bam, one more month and some change and a few days and a couple of hours and some minutes or some seconds in there somewhere. I forgot what we were talking about.
Well, Bungie say that over the last few months, they've been talking about the future of Destiny, the future of the franchise, from Vidocs to the recent director's cuts that we went through in detail last week with parts 1, 2, and 3 from Luke Smith. Thank you very much.
Right.
They've unraveled a map and plotted a course for their future. This week, they took their biggest step with cross-save. And how did that go for you? Did you try that?
No, I didn't. Reason being is because I want to wait for New Light to come out. And when New Light comes out, I just want to buy the packs that I need. So I was just going to wait until it was available on Steam and New Light was out. And I'll just get the game for free and buy the packs that I need on top of that. So I did not participate in cross-save this week.
Well, see, I'd already set up a Battle.net account when they were giving Destiny 2 away for free a couple of months back on Battle.net. I signed up to a Battle.net and, downloaded a copy of Destiny 2. And I thought, okay, I'll save that. My PC isn't that fast, so I'd never played it. And then now it's come to the cross-save part of it. So I've got my Battle.net. I had my Xbox. I've had a PlayStation account for years. So I had to make a Steam account. So I did that. That was all set up. And then I tried it on the 20th of August. And I was like, Peroty, why isn't this working? Why can't I? It just says I have to sign up for notifications. Why isn't this working? And it took me a good couple of hours to figure out that the 20th was the day that you had to then do your Battle.net transfer to Steam. And then the 21st was the cross-save day. So cross-save came and I spent a good half an hour. I was going through all the different points. You had to go on and log on to your Xbox account, your PlayStation, your Battle.net, and your Steam. And then you went further and then selected which one that you wanted to be your primary account. But every time my Xbox one was already there, it was already unlocked and confirmed. I did the PlayStation one, that unlocked and confirmed. Then I went and did Steam, and every time I clicked the Steam one, the PlayStation one would unclick and go back to needing to be authorized. So then I thought, okay, I will do the Steam one and the Battle.net one. And then I thought, I'll go back and do the PlayStation one. And every time I went back and did the PlayStation one, it knocked the other two off. I just gave up in the end. I was like, I'm done. And then I think I waited like a couple of hours and went back on, and it was all working fine, and I managed to go through the whole process. But there was a lot of errors. There was like 505 or 404 errors on the Steam page for a while, and I remember Bungie tweeted out and said there's an issue. But it's all working now.
There's a lot of jokes in there about I could make, with Sony. It might not have been working correctly because right now they're fighting with Disney, and priorities are elsewhere at the moment. But I'm
nobody pushed the button,
and nobody pushed the button. Like, holy crap, Disney's trying a hostile takeover. Wait, what else were we doing? You gotta do the thing.
There was a meeting. There was something going on that was more important than this button pushing.
Right. Somebody forgot to check the box. You need to check the box.
You can just imagine everybody in the Sony building running to the window to look outside to see who's having the fight in the courtyard. It's like, who's going to win?
You say that. I thought you were going to say everybody in the Sony building runs out to see Mickey Mouse and his crew walking up to the building. Today's your day, Sony. Anyway, yeah, they have bigger things going on right now. But I mean, as long as you're taken care of now, right? You got all your ducks in a row. But for you, what would be the point if you don't have a PC that's fast enough? Are you planning on getting one or what?
Possibly, at least it's there and it's all, I've got it all there ready just in case.
So you just abandon all of your clan and everyone else and just jump over to the PlayStation?
No, you don't abandon the clan. The clan goes with you. We've talked about this, remember?
Yeah, but I mean, we all play on Xbox, right? So if you jump on PlayStation, even though you're still a part of the clan, you can't play with us anymore.
No, you say that, but I'm sure we've had the Booker Man, who's over on PlayStation 4, sign up and join the clan this week.
Oh yeah, that guy. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be learning how to speak English first, and after that's over, I'm going to finish my sentence, which was going to be, I'm still going to play on PC, but I'm only going to play on PC when, like when I can't take my Xbox with me, right? In some places I can't take my Xbox because of customs and other nonsense, right? Or it's just too much weight or whatever. There are instances where I can't always bring my Xbox with me. So at that point in time, I'll play on my computer, which is just, a really, really good laptop. And then the saves will come back to my Xbox whenever I have access to it again. So I'm not going to be moving to PC, but I will play on the PC when I don't have my Xbox with me. So,
well, that's what I was thinking. If I'm, rather than streaming the Xbox to my laptop, I'd just play it on my laptop if I've got a better laptop at the time.
Sure. Anyway, migratory preparations, were you on that or were we already talking about that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Bungie say that they've been busy this week and they've begun preparations for the PC move to Steam and some live game calendar updates to discuss. So
as soon as you said migratory preparations, I'm like, oh my God. That means they're going to break Steam and Destiny's going to have all kinds of new issues on the PC and whatnot. And I just want to play, man. I don't want to, unless they broke it in a fun way, like laser tag weekend or something, right? That would be great. But no, I have a feeling it's just going to not work. Hopefully that won't be the case because I'd really like to try it out on the PC once it comes.
Yeah. So their calendar updates. We have Iron Banner returning next week, and that should be the 27th of August through to the 3rd of September. It's the last week of the Season of Opulence next week, and Lord Saladin will return, and power-enabled combat for the Iron Banner. And it's also going to be increased Valor. So if you're hunting those final resets required for the Redrick's Broadsword quest, this is the perfect time to jump in. You've also got Moments of Triumph, which is going to be extended through to September 17th. So this may help you earn the Crucible Pinnacle weapons that you've been holding out for the MMX1X title.
Oh my God.
What? Don't laugh at me.
It's 2019, man.
No, it says MMX1X.
That MM is 1000, 1000. And XIX it is 19. 10 plus 9.
But they didn't call the title 2019. They said MMX1X.
Oh, so if they spelled it 2019, would you call it 2019?
Yes.
Oh my God!
I so would, just to annoy you.
Yeah, whatever.
So on the roadmap, we have the Iron Banner next week. Then we've got another update, which is 2.5.2.2, which will come the week after. Then we've got the last week of the Moments of Triumph leading up to the 17th of September. And we have an Infamy boost with Gambit. Then we have the final Iron Banner, which is going to happen on the 17th of September through to the 24th of September. And then for the final week of September leading up to Shadowkeep, we have Mayhem in Crucible with a Valor boost and an Infamy boost in Gambit. That's what the calendar looks like for the rest of the month leading up to Shadowkeep. And then we have this amazing thing that they've decided they're going to implement into the game in come September. So the week after Iron Banner, we have the Community Challenge, which is going to end up on Mars.
So the September Community Challenge is on Mars. Whether we wanted it or not, we've stepped into a war with the Hive on Mars. So let's get to taking out their... Wait a second. This isn't what I meant to start with. With a bit of extra time before Shadowkeep ships, we thought it would be a good idea to get the community in fighting shape to return to the moon. Not just you, but the entire community. And what better way to focus your attention on the Hive than to challenge you in the ways of old? As we have a quality of life update coming on September 3rd that touches some of the Mars content. Why not double down and maybe help a few aspiring wayfarers along the way? This event starts September 3rd and ends September 10th, both at 10 a.m. PDT, whatever time zone that is. I'm not giving a damn right now. The community objectives
That's going to be reset time, isn't it?
Huh?
That's going to be reset time for everybody on the Tuesday.
Yeah. The community objectives are defeat 175,000 Wave 7 Escalation Protocol bosses, defeat 300 million Hive on Mars, do an arbitrary number of nightfalls on Mars, it doesn't say, defeat Nokris 150,000 times, defeat Zol 100,000 times, and use 300,000 override frequencies. And for all of you that thought that this was a community effort, you're wrong. You have to do this all by yourself in the week time frame that you've got.
No, this is Peroty's.
No.
Peroty's got to do this.
No. Oh, Peroty?
Peroty's got to do this for missing this week.
Right? All by himself. He is responsible for the entire community's numbers right there.
Yes. Yep. So he'll need some help doing his escalation protocol wave 7s 175,000 times. No, so please send him some messages. No, send him some messages on Xbox and offer him some help.
And then don't show up.
So you get a nice reward for this. So that's what you were talking about. It says do a Mars nightfall.
Oh yeah, that's where I was. Okay. Oh yeah. By the way, you get rewards for this. That's what we were talking about. Yeah. Okay. So now this wouldn't be interesting without rewards. If all objectives are completed during the event, any player to complete at least one nightfall will be granted a unique emblem, granted to only those who rose to the Mars challenge. Actually looks kind of cool. If you dig the whole Mars kind of machinery vibe thing, you'll like it. You know, it follows the escalation protocol, weapons and armor. It's good style. I like it. This also serves as an opportunity for you to further impress Emperor Callus. If the community reaches the above goals, Callus will unlock additional rewards for successful menagerie completions. Starting when goals are met, players will be guaranteed 2 rewards when slotting their runes and opening the chest. And an additional reward will be added each Friday for the remainder of the season.
This was an idea, I think, that I was spitballing with Peroty at some point when they did the opening of the forges. And the community got together and were working out all the puzzles to get into that last forge. I said to Peroty, me and my wife played, I think it was Resident Evil Revelations 2. And in that, there was a community challenge where you had to fight this giant zombie that was walking through water. And the community had to go in. They had like a minute to do as much damage as they can with all their weapons. And if that zombie was taken down by the end of that week, everybody that had taken part in that challenge got a reward in game for it. And I said that probably would have been better if they'd done something like that in Destiny for opening the forges. If the community all came together and did like 100 million, like they've done with killing the hive on Mars, if they did something like that with the initial forges, you would have found the forges being flooded with guardians and the amount of kills gone up, and that may have opened the forge. I said that may have been a better way of doing that challenge, or finding stuff out in the world and everybody getting together, more of a community challenge rather than waiting for one guy to try and crack it like we did in the end.
Well, it was kind of a community thing too, but unfortunately it does rest on one person to actually do the activity, to complete the
Yeah.
We were all
Whereas
trying to figure it out, but only
these,
one person was actively doing the puzzle.
Whereas these community challenges are, they can track the numbers of how many things have actually gone on, and they go, oh well, you've reached that goal, we'll reward you for that. And I think that's a really good thing. And I think this is something that they could do in the future, which would be really good if they keep improving and implementing these things for in game. And the other thing that I wanted to point out, they're doing a quality of life update on September 3rd that touches some of the Mars content. Now it's also quite kind of strange because the entrance to the Black Garden was on Mars. If you remember, in the Meridian Bay in Destiny 1, you had to go in that big area, didn't you? And on that mission you went through the portal and it suddenly took you to Venus, I think it was. So it seems strange that they're updating Mars a couple of weeks before we get Shadowkeep, and the Black Garden is going to be part of the new raid for Shadowkeep. So it just seems really suspect that they're touching Mars, don't you think? That's why I was saying spinfoil hats.
No, I mean, I don't think it's suspect at all, because that's how you get to the Black Garden, is via Mars.
Yes, but it's on a different part of Mars in Meridian Bay. So
it's
maybe
one of those little paths that we take could just lead off into that direction, or we could come across a Vex teleporter that boops us to the other side of the planet. I mean, there's lots of different ways they could implement it. I
think it's too far away from where the Braytech facility is. I think I've seen it on a map, so, on one of these
like
lore videos or something.
It's like
there's two different areas, isn't it? So it'd have to be a Vex teleporter. But it'd be quite interesting if people suddenly come across it in the next couple of weeks when we're doing this Mars challenge. Like, oh, where's this? This teleporter suddenly decided to pop up.
We never saw Braytech in D1, so
no, we didn't. But what I'm saying is the entrance to the Black Garden, which is going to be the new raid for Shadowkeep, is on Mars. That was how we got into the Black Garden, to destroy the heart.
Yeah, but then you mentioned Braytech facility for some reason. That I'm trying.
Well, that's where we are now. That's where the Mars map is at the moment. We're at the Braytech facility, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we're all around that area. So that's why I was mentioning that.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, it would be nice. That's most likely what is going to happen. Either there's going to be a teleporter to boop us to where we need to go, or there's going to be a cutscene, and we just happen to have a new marker on the map at that point.
Or there's not going to be anything at all, and we're all spouting a load of rubbish here.
It's all right.
And it's just all coincidence.
Happens to the best of us. And when I say the best of us, I mean you.
I knew you were going to say you. I just knew it.
All right. Well, here's my favorite part. Peroty's issues report. But guess what? Can you guess? You should guess. I want you to guess. You're not going to guess? Peroty's not here. So, no issues to report.
that just means we've got to take it.
No.
We've got to do it.
All right. I got you. Okay, here's the report. Cross save 90-day waiting period. You've already been told what this is. You disabled it. You wait 3 months. Moving on. Socials of Heroes ending soon. Enough said. Get your stuff done. Additional news and information. Wow, that was...
No,
Woo!
Go back. Go back.
Stop what it. Are we doing? What?
Cross save, 90 days waiting period. So if you accidentally click the wrong button when you are doing the cross saves and you want to disable it, there is a 90 days rest period where you can then unclick it or click it back on. They've also said, in addition, players who purchase silver cannot disable cross save until the 90 days after the silver was purchased. Players who perform a refund for purchased silver through the platform storefront cannot activate cross save until the silver is repurchased for that account. Lots of silver issues, basically. Players subject to a ban or restrictions cannot activate cross save or disable cross save if it is already active until that ban or restriction has expired.
So they're like super banned.
Yeah.
Not only can you not play, but you can't even decide how you're going to play when you're unbanned. Wow, that's really sticking it to him. That's funny.
Any players who encounter other issues with cross-save are encouraged to report to the #help forums or go on the cross-save frequently asked questions page, which we will link in the show notes. And as Respawn alluded, Solstice of Heroes is ending, and they say this is the final week for players to participate in Solstice of Heroes. After the weekly reset on Tuesday, 27th of August, Solstice of Heroes will end and the European Aerial Zone will no longer be accessible. Players will no longer be able to upgrade their uncommon or rare Solstice armor sets. Players who have unlocked the legendary Majestic armor sets may continue to complete objectives to masterwork their armor after Solstice of Heroes is concluded. That's especially helpful for anybody that wants to do the Shattered Throne for one of the pieces. That's coming up again the same week that Iron Banner's dropping. It'll be a full curse week next week. That's also another week that you can get your Truth to Lore power for the Queen if you're doing your lore book.
What? What are we on?
That's it. So that's all the issues. See, Peroty, we don't spend 6 hours going over issues.
That's right. What are we? Okay. Back in the saddle. Okay, here we go. Additional news. Game's getting another big freaking download. All right. It was at 96. We're getting 68 more. That means you need 165 total gigs for the game of Destiny 2. You better make space. All those of you that play Call of Duty, delete it. You play Halo, delete it. You play Anthem, delete it. Delete all that stuff you don't need because you're going to need the space for Destiny. All right?
Yes, so this is Shadowkeep. The download, the required minimum space is 68 gig to actually install it. So
additional space.
Oh, yeah.
Not total. Additional.
We're already at 96. So.
Yeah. Rise to new heights. Fight, earn, and infuse to reach new power cap of 960. Ha! False. Level up your seasonal artifact.
False.
It's the hard cap is 960, but the soft cap is infinite. Does that make sense? You can't get armor or weapons above 960, but
we went over this last week. Don't confuse people. Just stick to what it says on the page. Stick to what it says on the page, because you're just going to confuse people.
Level up your seasonal artifact and exceed the power limit of your weapons and armor to overcome impossible challenges. Introducing finishers available to all Destiny 2 players.
So yeah, they're available to all Destiny 2 players. That includes the first light, new light players that are coming in as well.
Yeah. I know I really should care about those things, right? Because me always being one of the players that always has all the Destiny things, I'm just thinking it's normal. Like everybody gets it. Yeah, duh. And I always forget about the guys that either don't want to or can't afford or fill in the blank all of the DLCs. So I guess that's an important thing to say.
Very important.
Anyway, class themed something. I was going to say weapons, but hold on. Class themed finishers. Oh, because we're on finishers. That makes sense. They're class themed. Blast arcane energy as a warlock, flourish your knives as a hunter, and strike with the greatest Titan weapon of all, your fist. But I saw a Titan using a spin kick. That's not a fist. That's a foot. I saw it.
These are your initial ones that you get from starting the game.
But they didn't say starting. They said, listen, blast arcane energy as a warlock, flourish your knives as a hunter, and strike with the greatest Titan weapon of all, your fist.
It is your greatest weapon of all.
I saw a Titan kicking something.
Yes.
It was a spin kick.
And if you wait until we get to the additional information further down about the finishers.
It was a kick. Anyway.
Yes.
Close quarters combat. Rush a weekend enemy, a guy that's only here on Saturday and Sunday. There you go. Rush a weakened, meaning an enemy that is weak, to activate a devastating final blow. I saw in one of the videos that they actually glow when they're ready to be finished. So that's cool. There's no guesswork to it. It's not like, I think he's ready. Boop, not ready. And you've been stopped to death.
There's a glowing dot, a big glowing dot above their head.
Yeah. There is a risk and reward. Equip finisher mods that use super energy to customize its effect, such as self-healing or spawning heavy ammo for your fire team. Guess which one I'm going to do? It's not heavy. There's additional info. It's for PvE only. That sucks.
You can't go run around doing your knife
That
thing.
sucks. No, because don't get me wrong. I know I would 100% get finished off by Titans all the time. But even if that was the case, I think using a finishing blow in the Crucible would have been amazing. Instead of just like using an emote over a dead body, you finish them off. That
You
to me
never
is way
know.
more insulting. You know what I
You
mean?
never know. This kind of thing may be unlocked for something like Mayhem later on down the line.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, hopefully it is. If it is
Maybe.
strictly PvE, that does.
Let's throw it out there. Come on, Bungie. You are listening to our podcast. Take that as a free piece of DLC.
Once you're in an animation, you're locked in. There's no cancel, and you are not invulnerable. Meaning, if you start an animation, you can still die via a stomp or some other stupid mechanic. Speaking of stomps, it's probably written here, but I haven't read far enough ahead. Big bosses, final bosses, are not subject to finishing moves. Okay? Do not be the guy that's like, I can finish him! Oh, I can blow a derp! And then you die. Don't be that guy.
It's literally the third line down from where you are.
Is it really 1, 2? There you go. See, told you I didn't read far enough ahead. You get one finisher per character to start with and can get even more later. Some finishers cost super energy, but they have a trade-off with what you get back. Ammo for a whole team, etc. You know, they keep mentioning that.
No, I mentioned that again. Yeah, that was my fault. I just doubled up on that. Sorry.
No. Even in the videos, they mentioned that like 3 or 4 times. Like, that's the big thing. Everybody gets a brick of heavy ammo when you finish off an enemy. That's cool. Do you do anything else? Yeah, you get a brick of ammo. Anything else? Yeah, you get a heavy brick of ammo. Okay, anything else? Yeah, you can get a heavy brick of ammo. I heard you! What else? You know, they keep mentioning that same one thing.
Leave it. Leave it. There's no rant. There's no rant this week. Leave it. Put it down. Just carry on.
Fine. Whatever.
I'm trusting you to do all the talking this week.
Sorry, what are we talking about? Hunt for new gear. That's what we're on. Discover unique weapons and armor in ways both new and old. Construct weapons out of Nightmare Essence with Eris Morn. Gather Vex-themed gear through the Season Pass and collect exciting new exotics from quests and enemy drops. Stand by for 1 second. Don't put this in the recording. There was something I meant to check earlier, but I forgot. Back on track. Garden of Salvation raid. A signal emerges from the dark. Sorry. Let's say that like ambiance, okay? A signal emerges from the dark and reaches beyond dimensions into the uncharted wilds in the Black Garden, where it leads inside the garden. Are you whooshing?
I was adding the extra sound effects.
Okay.
I can't do it now.
Okay. All right. Okay. Where it leads inside the garden remains a mystery, one that whispers with temptation, yearning to be solved. The Black Garden was the backdrop for the story finale in the original Destiny, but it was never properly explored. Also, there will be raid-specific mods. I love how they just put that at the end. Oh no!
No, I put that bit on the end.
Oh, okay.
That's why I highlighted it. I highlighted it. So, yeah, because it's one of those things that they mention in another video somewhere else. You think, that's important to stick that on that part of the notes.
Well, it is important, but there's always raid-specific mods. So, okay, yeah, people need to know that it's still a thing, but I mean, that's mostly an assumption at this part if you do raids.
And I think I did hear, I'm not 100% sure whether it was from Bungie or it was like third hand, that like we've got now with the extra mod slot for the raids armor, where they've got the extra mod slot that you put the raid specific mod in, that will be still a thing on the armor that you get from the raids.
Right.
So it doesn't take up a mod slot that you've already got space for, kind of thing.
Nice.
And I will link the Bungie Shadowkeep information page that we've got most of that information from, because that's all from their webpage. Now we move on to Shadowkeep Moon information and other things that have come out from Gamescom 2019, where Bungie turned up on Xbox stage talking about Shadowkeep, and that's where they showed off some of the finishes. That's where they showed off some of the artifact details. Released a trailer, so they've done a lot of talking at Gamescom this week, and we've collated some of the information, or most of the information for you, that we can go over. Now, the moon will have 4 lost sectors to explore. And as Respawn alluded to earlier from the Bungie statement, that we'll be crafting weapons from the Nightmare Hunts with Eris. And this is very similar to the Brother Vance stuff that we did on Mercury, where we had to go away and craft weapons. We had to do missions, didn't we? And get different parts or do different things to form the weapon. And then we had to go over to the forge that was on Mercury and forge a specific rolled weapon.
Speaking of those weapons, right? Some people talk bad about those Mercury weapons, but there was a lot that were really good. Off the top of my head, the hand cannon. Some people still use the hand cannon to this day in the Crucible, and the pulse rifle's not too bad either. So
yeah, I mean they were reasonable. I mean they were fixed rolls, but I think you could see the progression going from that forge to where we were with the forges, and hopefully it goes further with Eris, that it's not going to be a fixed roll, that it may be something that you could then go on further and re-roll and get different rolls of that weapon.
You mean like the hammer that we had in D1? It was the shape of a hammer. I forgot what the technical name was, but the icon was a little hammer. You hit it and you re-rolled your weapon.
Oh, yeah. But I think this is going to be a bit like a mixture of doing the menagerie, where you go and do your runes. You slot in a specific amount of things and you can select certain things, but a couple of things are a random roll. So hopefully this is going to be very similar with Eris, that we'll have to go off and get this Nightmare Hunt stuff.
So hold on, you're thinking that the Nightmare essence for Eris Morn is going to be like the tokens in the menagerie?
Possibly. I mean, we might not be able to select what we do in the menagerie with, making sure that we want range on something and master work it for something else, or but there may be some selection to it. We don't know as yet, but it's sounding promising, because knowing what they know from other parts of the game. Although they did say, I think we said last week, that this was all kind of put in place before they knew how the menagerie was accepted.
Yeah, because they were doing it in parallel.
Yeah, it may not be what we think it could be with the menagerie. It
could be something
maybe closer to
like 1 essence gives you a hand cannon, 5 essence gives you a pulse rifle, 10 essence gives you a heavy weapon. I don't know. It could be something.
It may be a mixture of like what we had with Brother Vance, and a mixture of that with the forges. Yeah. So you never know. It could be something really good. There could be some really good weapons from that.
I just hope they do it better than they did with the Brother Vance, because some of those materials were a pain. I think, an understatement, right? But whatever. And
you could only do so many a week, couldn't you? You could only get so many boxes per week from him. Hopefully they don't limit it. So with Nightfall Strikes and Nightmare Hunts, they all have difficulty level selects with them. And they say that the higher the level, the better the gear. So this is a possibility of acquiring the new economy items, such as enhanced prisms and the Ascendant shards. There are 2 new strikes for Shadowkeep. One is on Io in the Pyramidium, and it's been hinted at with the area that was glitched into a couple of months back. A couple of YouTubers showed you. It was very similar to an area that we had as a strike in Destiny 1, and I can't remember what it was called. And I didn't have time to look it up. But again, this could also be possibility that, you remember Ashimir keeps referring to the Radiolarian Lake when we fall down in the pit. For the strike, and it's completely different. This may be the Radiolarian Lake that he's going on about, and they've put that into the story this time. So that's quite interesting that one's on IO and they haven't shown us it yet. But again, that could also tie in with the Vex and the Black Garden and things like that.
Okay.
But the one that they've shown on the moon, we've seen kind of screenshots of the box that shows you where you can load into it, and it says investigate the recent erected Scarlet Keep and discover its dark purpose, and the recommended power is 750, and that's all we've kind of know about that at the moment. That sounds like it's one of the starting strikes or missions that we go into that then turns into a strike like we've had previous.
Sounds like it, yeah.
And then we have the nightmare hunts. So these are possible encounters that we've had previously or done previously, but they're approached differently or you do different mechanics. So some of the nightmares that one of the nightmares that has been shown at Gamescom was called Servitude. And again, the destination was on the moon. And it says defeat the nightmare of Zydron, the Gate Lord. And I don't know if you remember this, Respawn,
I remember the
but he's the Gate Lord that you had to go to on Venus, and you rip his head off and you take him back to the Queen, and her brother then rips out the eye and gives you the eye and says, well, it's dead, it's useless, but I'll give you the coordinates for Mars anyway. And I will link that in the show notes because I found a Gate Lord mission completion and the cutscene afterwards if anybody's interested in watching that. So it may be a recreation of the encounter that we first fought Zydron from Destiny 1, but there are different mechanics to it of how to defeat him. This could be some of the other bosses that we have fought along the way, because in some of the trailers we've seen Ghoul, we've seen Fogoth, and these are all kind of bosses that have been spread out from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. And we don't know whether these nightmares are part of a strike or these nightmare hunts that we have to go to.
Okay.
But
probably both.
Probably. But I could see that it's each nightmare is going to be a different boss on the map each time. And there are different tiers of or difficulties that you can select, which have different modifiers and things on. I'll get onto those in a minute. But I think it's something that they're going to rotate throughout the season. So maybe we'll only see these bosses 3 or 4 times in that season. That's the part of the content that's going to be disappearing. As Luke Smith said, that they're going to have to.
Yep.
There's going to be some content that's going to disappear so that they can keep it. They can keep the load times down. Yeah.
They wouldn't need to do that if they kept everything server side.
So, from what we saw on the Gamescom trailers and the interviews that they showed, the Zydron mission or the Zydron nightmare, it says challenges, and underneath it said weekly, and it said complete a nightmare hunt activities. Any difficulty tiers grants progress, and it says 0 of 3. So you can do 3 of these nightmare hunts per week, and it reward you with a powerful gear tier 1. Again, we don't know what the tier 1 is, but I'm guessing that's the lower tier of powerful rewards, as like we've got now. If you go and do like the 3 daily missions, you get a lower tier of a powerful engram drop, and I'm guessing that tier 1 is the lower end. Maybe tier 3, 4, I don't know how far it goes up, is going to be the higher ones that you can get more light from.
Sure.
The 3 difficulties that can be selected. So you've got Adept, which is 860 light. You have matchmaking on. You've got matchmaking on, and the mission modifier is air superiority. That's the first difficulty for the nightmares. And you remember last week we talked about it with the delta being scaled to the 100 light above. So if you are 760, you could go into this, but it's going to take you a very long time to damage that boss and get him down. But you could possibly do this week 1 if you are 760. I'm guessing we're going to get a lot higher than that in the first week, or a lot of people will. But it just shows you
getting a base of 750. Right?
Yeah.
So everybody's going to a base 750.
But you need to get to at least 760 to actually go into that mission and do any kind of damage. But it's going to take teamwork. You can go in as a team of 3, and I'd recommend that for the first couple of weeks. Because you're going to need communication, because all the systems have changed, and your weapons are all going to be changed as well. They're going to be buffing the supers and all the orbs that we talked about last week. So it's going to take a lot of communication to possibly do that at 860. So they have one modifier on that. It's called air superiority. The next level is hero, which is 920 light. And again, you've got matchmaking on for that. You have the mission modifier of air superiority again. But then you also have champion overload, champion barrier, and torment of Zydron, which all sound like that's a lot of pain and a lot of suffering there.
That air superiority sounds really fun unless you're a hunter, though. right? Because to me, that sounds like as long as you're floating in the air, you do probably extra damage. I would guess, maybe have extra accuracy. But us poor hunters that can't float.
Possibly,
So,
yeah. Again, I mean, these may even rotate out. It may not be that the first week. We're only going off of the build that they've shown at Gamescom.
sure.
So
Yeah.
these things could actually change.
Yeah, I
And
mean
the
they
third,
absolutely could,
sorry,
but no, it's fine. I just um I'm my train of thought is going down two different directions right now, right? But I was thinking of the air superiority thing again. It would be bad for hunters, but at the same time, I was thinking, what's that exotic where if you're a warlock and you sight in while you're in the air, you kind of stay there longer as long as you're hitting a target.
oh yeah, I know what you mean with the wings on it.
Yeah. So that on a warlock with air superiority, that could potentially be very, very devastating. Just kind of a heads up. Just throwing it out there. Anyway, moving on.
So the highest tier of difficulty you can do is Legend, which is 950 light. Matchmaking is off. And the mission modifiers, you also have the air superiority, the champion overload, and the champion barrier. And then you also have the torment of Zydron. But you will have your equipment locked and it will be match game. Again, these could be rotating modifiers. But also to mention that on your artifact, we'll come on to that in a second, you have overload rounds on the artifact and anti-barrier rounds. And the overload rounds on the artifact says uninterrupted fire grants bullets that cause disruption, delaying ability energy regeneration and lowering combatant damage output, and it's strong against overlord champions. So this goes in hand with the mission modifiers on the legend and the hero modes of the nightmares. And then you have the anti-barrier round on the artifact that you can select. And it says shield piercing rounds designed to bypass combatants' defenses, strong against barrier champions. And these mods look like they will cost you 0 energy to slot into your armor as well. So say you can put this on like a class item that's already filled up with 7 bars and you can't really get anything else in there. You may be able to put these on those specific armor pieces. I'm not exactly sure as yet where you can put the different mods from the artifact, but I'm guessing they will only be able to be slotted into certain.
I think it's additive. You can put it wherever you want as long as you don't go above 10.
So Bungie say that they'll be discussing the artifact in more detail at a later date, but they did show off some information at Gamescom. So we did find out that the artifact will make progress across all your characters, so you don't have to just worry about that. On each character, you'll have the same artifact that will then make progress. So that's quite good. The artifact has mod slots that you can select to open, and they have 5 lines of 5 columns. So these 5 lines and 5 columns will equal 25 mods that you can choose. And in the first column, there are 5 Vex-themed mods that you can have. In the second column, there are weapon themes for nightmare hunts and new mods. In the third column, it's weapon reloaders, and they are enhanced with no affinity attached, Respawn. The fourth is ability cooldown related. And the fifth column is cooldowns for exotic feeling mods that make you more powerful, like the heavy armor regen, as Respawn has reiterated several times, over and over.
Over and over and over again. What kind of backwards ass freaking? Oh, hold on, I can't say that stuff. What kind of Twilight Zone episode have I stepped into? Get out of here, scram.
So out of those 25 mod slots, you can only select 12 mods. And this works by just selecting ones in each column. Now, you could just select all the ones in the first couple of columns and work with that. But if you want to get to the exotic feeling ones, you'll need to follow a certain pattern. And you have to do certain things. And it says it at the bottom of the artifact. It says to unlock column 2, you have to unlock 1 mod slot from column 1. Once you've done that, column 2 unlocks, and then we make more progress. So to unlock column 3, you need to have chosen 4 mods from the previous 2 columns, so that's 1 and 2. Once you've done that, you unlock column 3. To unlock column 4, you need to choose 7 from the previous 3 columns. Once you've done that, you unlock column 4, and then to unlock the final column, you need to have chosen 10 mods from the previous, 4 columns. Once you've done that, you can then select a mod from the final column. So you can reset your artifact and then try 12 different mod slots. But again, we don't know how that's going to work at this point in time. There could be some kind of requirement for it.
Listen, I'm hoping it's not an experience-based thing. Because remember D1, how you had weapons and things like that, and you had to gain experience with them to level them up, right? If you have to do that, let's say I'm going into an event, right? And I've been an idiot. I haven't been paying attention. I've got these 12 things that I think are cool, but they're not the right unlocks to go into like a raid, for an example. And somebody says, no, you need X, Y, and Z so that we can do A, B, and C. Well, I reset my artifact thinking that, hey, I can just put in 12 different slots. But no, you got to use experience to level it up again. That would suck.
So like we had with the Destiny 1 weapons, that you could level up, and then once you've did that, you could then select the perks that you wanted and go with that, didn't you?
You could, but you didn't need to reset the weapons to do that.
No, I'm hoping it would say cost you 5,000 glimmer to reset the artifact. And then once you've done that, you could then reinsert those mod slots in wherever you wanted to once you fully upgraded the artifact for the first time.
So you're thinking it might be like a charge to clear the board, not reset the artifact, but to clear all the icons off and just replace them in different spots.
Once you've unlocked the whole artifact, so it might take a couple of weeks for you to level it up fully, but after that, you can then reset for a certain amount of glimmer. Not a high chunk, but something that will be significant. But then again, don't go too small, otherwise people will be resetting every kind of 5 seconds.
I can see that. I like that. That's better than than consumables. I like that. Yeah. All right. Cool.
So Ibontis has an artifact breakdown video that he goes over all the details from Gamescom and the Games Radar interviews, breaking down all the information about the new artifacts.
He just gives you visuals of everything Demon just said.
Basically. But he does go into more detail about the things that I've kind of glossed over, and it's definitely worth a watch. Plus, he also has a Shadowkeep Moon Map, Nightmare Hunt, Strike and Season of the Undying video, where he covers the differences between the moon from D1 and the differences in D2. Did you watch this one, Respawn?
I did, and the differences I didn't really care for, but I do like how he managed to get information about what the new things mean. That was nice. Yeah.
In the first part of the video, he overlays the Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 moon maps and shows you where it's changed and the changes of the areas. And it's possible that the map goes up further in Destiny 2, as we only saw a screenshot. But there's a path in the top corner that goes off the map. It's very similar to the Dreaming City, where it's quite a large map and you have to kind of scroll across. So it could be similar to that.
And then not only that, but you also have the ascended areas too. So yeah.
And there's also some good news for Xbox and PC players, isn't there, Respawn?
Hold on, I got this. So earlier in the week, I was watching a video, and somebody mentioned they said this, but the wording that they used sent me down a path of anger. Okay.
No ranting.
I'm not ranting. No. I'm good. Thoughts. I ranted earlier in the band chat earlier this week. I'm good now.
Happy talk.
I know. Yep. This is happy talk. I'm saying earlier in the week, the way that they explained this was bad, and it sent me down the angry path. So what had happened was, I was all excited about there being no more PlayStation exclusive content. And when they were talking about this in the video that I was watching, somebody had mentioned when the time expires for the PlayStation 3, for the PlayStation exclusive content, then we get this. And I took that as there's more PlayStation exclusive content, and I I lost my mind. I'll be honest with you. I did get very uncouth there for a while, let's say. And now that this is out, I think it's good, right? Because there is no more PlayStation exclusive content coming, but there is still an expiration date for the stuff that already exists. That's what it meant. So when this expiration date comes, when the timer expires, what's going to happen for the Xbox and PC players is we'll get the PS4 exclusive strike, the Broodhold. That strike was released under the Forsaken expansion, and Guardians must breach the Tangled Shores crashed Hive warship and destroy the nest inside in an effort to drive the Hive out of the shore. Sorry. The mission goes awry when the nest source reveals itself, requiring Guardians to rise up and defeat the threat. In addition to the strike, this particular strike, when I say both, everyone gets 2 additional strikes. So Xbox and PC, we get 3 new strikes. PlayStation gets 2 new strikes. In addition to the strikes, though, the Wave Splitter, if I'm reading this correctly, is coming to Xbox and PC. So whereas that was only a PlayStation exclusive, with the exception of the time where it was in Destiny 2 for everyone there for a bit, we're not supposed to have it. So it's coming to us, and like I said, it's called the Wave Splitter. It's Omelan's newest breakthrough. It uses focused sonic waves to superheat electrons into a devastating energy beam. This is Void, by the way, so that's our Void. It's not a linear fusion rifle. It's a
trace rifle.
Trace rifle. Thank you. So this is the Void trace rifle we've been waiting on. Its exotic perk is Harmonic Laser. Laser damage has 3 power levels that oscillate while the trigger is held down, meaning it goes weak damage, medium damage, high damage, etc. Okay. It has a what's the word I'm looking for? The catalyst. It has a catalyst called Supercharged Battery. Collecting an orb of light grants a short period of maximum power that starts with an automatic weapon reload. So, I've heard a lot of things about this. I have yet to play with it, but I heard that this Wave Splitter is kind of beast on PlayStation, and I'm hoping it will be when it comes to PC and Xbox. So, MTash has a Wave Splitter Trace Rifle exotic review. Go check that out. I'm not about to explain it. The next exotic is called the Monte Carlo. Now, this is back in the day from D1. It was an OG weapon. Visually speaking, it looks pretty cool. But the exotic perk, I wasn't that much of a fan of. Anyway, we're going to get into it.
It was good for Titans.
Yeah, it's great for Titans. Monte Carlo is an exotic auto rifle that is returning from D1 and Shadowkeep. The rifle looks different from many other auto rifles that in the front of the weapon, it looks like it has a bayonet. We have a legendary kind of gun that looks like this in the game currently. Unfortunately, this is only a novelty. You can't actually run up and stab people. That's unfortunate. The rifle is in the middle ground archetype for rate of fire, meaning 600, and impact, and has a much higher stability and reload speed than many other auto rifles of its archetype. And it did. The downside is you didn't have a lot of range. So there's that. A year 2 version of Monte Carlo was reintroduced in the Taken King. The exotic perk Monte Carlo method, dealing damage with this weapon reduces your melee cooldown and grants a chance to fully charge your melee ability with each kill. Again, great for Titans that like punching stuff. Gambit and Gambit Prime are not going in.
Oh, sorry, that should have been under the Monte Carlo thing.
Yeah. So end tape, roll credits. That's it. Go ahead, man.
So Gambit and Gambit Prime are not going anywhere soon. It will be available throughout year 3 because they want new light players to experience it and get even more feedback from the next year. And that's basically going off of what Luke Smith said last week in his opus, where he said there could only be one. But I think they're going to take a year to decide and maybe refine both modes and, over the year, see which one comes out on top.
Sorry, what are we talking about?
Gambit Prime.
Yeah, no, I went a little Highlander there for a second. Go ahead, continue.
So we will link the Monte Carlo Exotic Auto Rifle Planet Destiny review from back in the day, the Gamescom 2019 Xbox Shadowkeep information reveal from the Xbox stage, and the Gamescom 2019 Shadowkeep trailer, and the PS4 Broodhold Strike gameplay if you're interested. So, now it's time for everybody's favourite bit, but it's only a little bit this week anyway. Tips, tricks and guides. So, we have a guide from Jarv on the best PC settings for Destiny 2, and he goes through the PC and the in-game settings to help optimize for your PC and the best settings for you. And he explains each step and what you might need to do to set up your own PC. Next, we have a guide from Fallout Plays, and he covers all the details on how to set up your cross-save account on Bungie.net and goes over all the rules for the system. So if you didn't want to listen to me from last week, go listen to Fallout. He has a really good video. Also, Fallout has gone back down the rabbit hole with even more testing on barrel lengths, and this time he has a video on the exotic scout rifle, the Polaris Lance, and the exotic hand cannon, the Last Word, and he plays about with their ornaments and shows you the different range drop-offs for those. Also, we have a cool guy video highlighting the Black Scorpion 4SR, which is a scout rifle that's been around for quite some time. But the reason that we've highlighted this video is because in Shadowkeep, these frames might become really good because scout rifles are going to get a buff, hopefully. And Cool Guy goes into detail, and he says that he was going to put this in his 5 minutes of frame series, but the more and more he used it, it grew on him, which I can agree with because it's one of my favourite scout rifles. He currently believes that the top 3 PvP scouts are the Jade Rabbit, the Polaris Lance, and No Feelings. But these Vice frames have something about them that, do shine. And in the review, he goes over the perks that you want and how these are best used and the range drop off and more, because this weapon can get random rolls from Gunsmith and well drops. So it's worth taking a look at. And he finishes the video with gameplay and in the current meta and shows you how good it is at the moment. So if it's good at the moment, hopefully it will be a great weapon come Shadowkeep. And that's it. Look at that. Record time.
How long have we been recording?
About an hour, I reckon. This is going to be the shortest podcast that we've done. We got the information out there without messing about, without the silly voices. I basically think it's Peroty's fault. It is Peroty's fault. The reason why we always spend 6 hours doing a podcast.
You think it's Peroty that holds us back? I mean, yeah, of course. I completely agree.
I guess that we'll find out when he's back whose fault it is.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This it's so short, it's going to be out tonight.
No, it's not going to be out tonight. It's nearly midnight for me. I'm going to go to bed. Thank you for joining us. Your Titan has been Nitedemon. Your Hunter is No One Respawn.
Hi!
You can email us at 2titansandahunter@hotmail.com, or you can tweet us at 2titans_hunter. You can look us up on Facebook. There's a Facebook page that basically we tell you when the podcast goes live. And sometimes there's other things. Peroty likes to make sure that everybody can join the Frozen clan. And there's join.frozen.party
Frozen
thing.
with a 0.
That's Frozen with a 0. Yep. And you can find your favourite Guardians on Xbox Live. Now you can join the Frozen clan no matter what you're on. You could be the ambassador, like the Booker Man is for the PlayStation 4. You could become our ambassador for PC. Because let's face it, we don't want Respawn becoming the ambassador for the PC side.
I've already called dibs.
No, you can't have dibs.
It's my dibs.
It's down to Pan. It's down to Pan. No,
I've already called it.
No.
Look, as newly elected monarch of the fellow hunters, I declare dibs on PC. PC ambassadorship.
No. You can find. Yeah, we've done that. You can find us. You can Actually, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to watch the show on YouTube this week, because Lazy Guts is on holiday, and he normally does the edit for the video. So I might just have to upload an audio thing where you just look at the Podbean logo for the week. Because he's not going to bother, and I've got none of the software to do the. Well, I have got the software to do it. I haven't got the time to do it because I leave that up to Peroty, and he hasn't been bothered to actually give us anything for the video. So you can watch some kind of show this week on YouTube once the podcast goes live. As you know, because you're listening to us, you're probably listening to us on either Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. There's loads of other places you can listen to us. Everywhere fine podcasts are sold, as Peroty would say.
That's right.
Podcoin as well. And we leave you this week with a shorter podcast because, let's face it, Peroty is the one that holds us back and makes the podcast go on for more hours. We just edit out all the bits that he messes up. That's what it is.
Everybody's always blaming it on Respawn, but Respawn is not the weakest link.
No, he's not, as we found out this week. So, Respawn, it's time to say goodbye.
Bye, Guardians!
Goodbye.
Speaking of which, there was no fan mail this week?
I don't think so.
Oh, sad face.
I know. Nobody loves us this week. Why? Look,
what?
Why don't you love us? We're here. We're here for you guys. We don't do this for us. Nobody's paying us to do this. We don't get sponsored. But we love you. Really. Thank you for listening.